Super Mario World is 7 worlds in the quote-unquote main campaign to defeat Bowser. Unlike the modern Mario games that include the Star World as a bonus 9th world, in Super Mario World the Star Special World is the 8th world of the game, which I will be recreating and is when I will be conducting the final ranking of every single level of the game. But the point of this explanation is how there are 7 Koopalings, but since there are also 7 worlds, Larry is pushed into the Valley of Bowser. Larry is a special video game character because I can guarantee that he's no one's favorite Koopaling. If you say he is, you're lying to yourself. Well anyway, time for more infant turtle slaughter.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you.
Welcome, disciples of the internet, to my second to last video of my Super Mario Maker 2 project, where I've been recreating every single Super Mario World level on a very questionable one-to-one basis. And before I go into the 9 levels of the Valley of Bowser, I must mention that if you want to see my sporadic attempts at recreating any of the other worlds from this game, click on the top right reference card that will take you to the first video of this series that covers Yoshi's Island. And now it is time for me to do a YouTuber thing. At the time of writing this script, only 6.6% of viewers are subscribed, so make sure to subscribe and toll the notification bell for more jelly-soaked content. Sunken Ghost Ship. Technically, before we can get into the Valley of Bowser, at the gate of this cave is a ghost-themed underwater level, which means I get to press the funny boo joke button. And since this level is underwater, the textures will be very out of place. Also, you may be wondering why I'm using the annoying night version of the underwater theme. 2 reasons: it fits more with the level gimmick, and the second, because the flashing boo party is definitely impossible to recreate, so turning the lights off balances the difficulty a little bit. Also, one little thing before the third vertical area, there are these crates that seem so much like they'd be semi-solids, but they just aren't. I was expecting there to be problems with these bullet bill cannons, but it wasn't until I played the level again that I even realized these somehow weren't semi-solids. The vertical area of this level is also the tallest in the game, and about half of it will have to be removed. And obviously in Mario Maker 2 there's no object that just instantly ends the level, so there needs to be another interlude section. Valley of Bowser 1. Like every other normal level in this world, Valley of Bowser 1 is cave themed and starts out with some giant Monty moles. Why are they wearing sunglasses when they live in an underground cave? Anyways, they cannot be killed, so whenever the game tries to utilize them as some kind of platform, I slap an invincible flying Buzzy Beetle on their heads. Just try not to miss, even slightly. Every charge and chuck in this level has the ability to break through blocks, and since there is no cave feather and the player is required to break through these walls, I erase the top portions of these walls, which could lead to some difficulty problems if the player is in their super form. Valley of Bowser 2. Remember in Donut Plains 2 and that level's insistence on those wacky yellow platforms that take up 90% of the recreation time? Well, now the entire level is one big moving yellow platform, so once I run out of bullet bill launchers, some sections will look very empty and lifeless. Valley Fortress. Ooh yes, the final fortress level. I'm so excited to recreate the exact same Reznor boss fight for the literal 4th time. But other than Reznor, there's really not too much to talk about. There are some skewers that move much faster than others, but that's one of those changes I really can do nothing about. This fortress is also the shortest in the entire game, which at least means I don't have to think about Reznor longer than I already have to. If Reznor is your favorite Mario boss, you belong in the same corner with the Larry fans. Valley Ghost House is special as it is the only ghost house in the game to literally introduce nothing new. I mean, there are some new background colors, but not much else. One point of interest though is the inclusion of this snake coin block returning from Donut's secret house, except this time it is actually required to get the player to a secret exit. So blue snake block it is. Since this is also the last traditional ghost house of the game, I also took the time to decorate this ending section a bit. Valley of Bowser 3. In this level the developers tried to put an athletic mushroom platform type level underground, so the textures are going to be doubly screwed in this one. Valley of Bowser 2 has a unique platform with these grassy slabs that drop when their internal number reaches 0. In Super Mario Maker 2 there is a unique platform that drops after a certain amount of time, and that is the Skull Lift platform. I could change the platforms to take longer to drop with a quick blue Skull Lift platform, platform, but those never drop, which just allows the player to skip the whole entire level, and that's no fun. Small note, this level has a new bridge type platform that can also be made diagonal, which leads to this monstrosity. Valley of Bowser 4. For the final normal level before the final 2 cave levels, this one is actually quite tame. The platforming gimmick is a platform that falls when you jump on it. There has never been an easier substitution choice so far in this entire game. There are also quite a few charge and chucks, but thanks to this level having 2 sub-areas, all of them can be replaced with boom booms. Sub-area for this level also has that ever-present ice physics mechanic, and since there's water in this sub-area, the Cheep Cheeps are now frozen in a lake of ice.
Michael! Don't leave me here!
Larry's Castle. Out of all the mechanics to bring back for the final Koopaling fortress, they chose the snake block. And Larry's Castle features the most annoying snake block section in the game that constantly doubles back on itself. Since the max snake block path limit is kind of short in Mario Maker 2, that means putting another snake block where the first ends. Larry's Castle is also basically the only level in the entire game with a secret checkpoint where you have to fall down this hole. But now in Super Mario Maker 2, the secret is kind of ruined since the scrolling stops when it comes in contact with a max height wall. But now that the scrolling doesn't stop, astute players will be able to easily tell that something's off. The second room requires the player to let Magic Koopas destroy these brick walls, so just make sure not to kill them or you're screwed. The boss fight against Larry is also the exact same as Iggy's except with 3 measly fireballs, which just reinforces my hate for Larry even more. They can't even create their own original boss fight concept. Bowser's Castle. I mean, technically this level is 2 levels called front door and back door, but if you're expecting me to create 2 levels for Bowser's Castle and Bowser's Castle but shorter, you will be sent to the corner. Looking at the actual level itself, Bowser's Castle has 12 whole sections, but thankfully I only have to remove 2. First, the Spark Room, because it has a massive ceiling and moving platforms that I don't want to deal with. Then I remove this vertical underwater moving platform area for obvious reasons that are obvious. And for the corridors with the numbered doors that take you to these sections, I shortened them by about 500% just so everything could fit. The Chain Room and the Hammer Room, really annoying mechanics, but nothing we haven't seen before yet. Then there is this Mecha Koopa room with semi-solids in the foreground, which is impossible, but technically the gameplay of this level is the exact same as the original, disregarding the textures. Room 5, or 4 in this case, is a dark hallway with some skewers and thwomps. The difficulty of this room is also non-existent since the skewers don't all load in at the same time. So if you start running at any time, you probably won't be hurt. Actual Room 5 has some more Bowser statues and some fake Bowser statues that jump towards the player. For the real one, I used red cannons, and for the fakes, I used Mecha Koopas. The final room is 8 charge and chucks, so every other one will have to be a Boom Boom, then a giant Hammer Brother. It can be inferred without saying, but all of these rooms will have to require many pipes and doors to connect them. And since one of these doors will have to be a key door for the final boss, for one of these connections, I was forced to use the good old-fashioned method of just using a tunnel. The penultimate room has a light mechanic. The best I can do is give the player a star if they hit the light blocks, because that's the closest thing I have to light without doing the night theme or wacky sound effects shenanigans. And the ninjas are now jumping piranha plants because they jump in place without having to move side to side. Now it is time for the grand fight against Bowser, and yes, it is more complicated than just putting Bowser in a single clown car. Trust me, there is a method to my madness here. Since the clown car is so violent in this game that it will instantly chase after Mario, there will have to be one-way doors to seal Bowser at the top. But now there's the problem of the bombs Bowser throws not passing through the doors. So now Mecha Koopas will have to exit these pipes here. But now the boss fight is too easy, so I put spike balls and upside down pipes to replicate the bowling ball attack from Bowser's second phase. And finally, if you accidentally jump into the ceiling of the level, I put some munchers up there to prevent being instantly soft-locked. And sadly, Luigi is yet again too late to rescue Princess Peach, but at least he gets to chill at this mini recreation of Yoshi's house. So that was all 9 levels of the Valley of Bowser from Super Mario World recreated in Super Mario Maker 2. Now that the in-depth recap of each level is finished, it is time for my ranking of how accurate each recreation is to the original game. Number 9, Bowser's Castle. Number 8, Sunken Ghost Ship. Number 7, Larry's Castle. Number 6, Valley of Bowser 2. Number 5, Valley of Bowser 3. Number 4, Valley of Bowser 1. Number 3, Valley Ghost House. Number 2, Valley Fortress. And number 1, Valley of Bowser 4. I do genuinely hope you've enjoyed my recreation of the Valley of Bowser from Super Mario World and Super Mario Maker 2, and if you want to see the final world of Super Mario World, the star/special world, or if you just want to see more sleep paralysis demon fuel, stick around.